Welcome back to Full Court Femmes.
We are once again coming to you from our hotel in New York City after a long, exciting day of Big East basketball. But if you were at MSG yesterday, you know why our St. John's Red Storm is seeded #1 coming into this tournament.
Yes, because they beat Providence with a steady, mature hand.
And it was a statement win to open the Big East tournament, following many wins yesterday with Seton Hall winning. So that's who we'll talk about in just a few moments. Then we saw UConn win. Was a great game, but not necessarily a good close game. And then the final game was the Georgetown Villanova game. And I think a lot of people expected Villanova to win, but it was Hoya Magic last night. It was so exciting to watch those guys play their hearts out and come into the semifinals to play UConn tonight.
Very exciting day of basketball yesterday. Let's talk about our Johnnies, okay? The game started competitive, right? But once St. John's offense settled in, we really saw the depth.
Well, we had 4 Red Storm players actually score in double figures yesterday, which clearly helped elevate them across the Providence challenge. And that has been the identity of this team all season long.
Yes, it has. Let's start with Uzziah Sellers, who gave St. John's scoring from the perimeter.
Then there's Ian Jackson, who continues to be one of the most disruptive guards on the floor when he's hot.
But the real control in this game came from the inside, starting with a prior Friar, which is Bryce Hopkins, obviously. And that man continues to show maturity on the court with the boos, with the challenges from his old teammates. He recorded a double-double yesterday, attacking the glass and creating second chances.
And then, of course, my guy Zuby Ejiofor, who also delivered a double-double yesterday and anchored the defense again.
Yes, he did. When those two control the paint like that, St. John's becomes very difficult to beat.
Well, you're very difficult to beat. So let's talk about that prediction, Annie.
All right, Annie, you said St. John's 85, Providence 73.
Phew, actual score.
85-72. Our girl did it.
That's about as close as it gets, Annie.
Yeah, just 1 point off. I will take that.
Well, we'll take it as well. And let's hope your prediction for today holds true as well. Now, let's shift our focus quickly because we've got to get into the Seton Hall St. John's discussion. That's tonight, the semifinals at Madison Square Garden.
Well, we all know that it's very hard to beat a team 3 times in any given season. Okay. So Seton Hall last night by beating Creighton in the second round. And 2 players really drove that win.
Well, first, let's talk about Adam Bud Clark. Your husband likes to call him Bud. The press calls him Adam Clark. I'm not sure what he goes by, but we're going to call him Adam Clark for now. He finished with 16 points and controlled the tempo for the Pirates.
Yes, he did. And then Jacob Darr, who added 14 points and provided scoring when Creighton started to close the gap.
When those two are producing together, Seton Hall becomes much harder to defend.
Well, but our Johnnies have seen this team twice, and they've won twice. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, first meeting, January 20th. St. John's wins 65-60. It was defensive battle.
Then there was the second meeting, March 6th. St. John's wins again, 72-65. Both games had the same theme. Slow pace, physical possessions with hands and bodies all over the place, and defense deciding the outcome.
Okay, but you forgot to mention not only hands and bodies, but that was the shoe escapade that went on, the Cinderella story, I think you called it last time. And actually last night, Giraffe threw his shoe off again. So that's not going to happen tonight. Boys, tie your shoelaces, every single one of you. So let's talk about, besides that as a key to the game, the ones that we're going to discuss now probably look pretty familiar to our Johnnies.
They do. So the first one, we need to control the paint. When Hopkins and Ejiofor dominate the interior, Seton Hall struggles to keep up defensively.
Secondly, protect the ball. Seton Hall thrives when games become chaotic. St. John's needs to stay disciplined.
Well, and third, finish defensive possession. Seton Hall relies heavily on second chances. If St. John's rebounds well, they'll obviously control the tempo tonight.
All right, Annie, semifinal night. What do you see?
Here's what I see. I think the game looks a lot like the previous matchups. Physical, chaotic, but a slower pace. And I have St. John's 70, Seton Hall 63.
All right, we're in for another grind tonight, ladies. That is clear based on this prediction.
But a grind that sends St. John's into the championship game.
Let's go. If the Red Storm advance tonight,
we'll be right back here tomorrow breaking down the Big East championship matchup.
So stay tuned.
And subscribe to Full Court Femmes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube.
No hype, all hoops.
Let's go, Johnnies!